Hello and welcome back everyone, I'm back. I was recently invited by the amazingly talented Enchanterium sisters to be a part of their first annual Ballgown Sewdown. We were prompted to choose a princess to recreate in smart doll form, and I chose the iconic Princess Serenity. I'll be making her dress, a custom wig, and some fun 3D accessories. Alright, so let's jump right in. Starting off with the kitten heel, I used Danny Chu's Free, Hero Soul, and Last STL files as a base. I removed the heel and replaced it with a cylinder that I then shaped to my liking. The sleeve is a mesh of free STL files that I found online, if I'm being completely honest. I only modeled the shell-like base by using flattened spheres, and the other parts are all free STL files I kind of manipulated into the shape of the sleeve. So after we slice all the files, we're all set for a test print. Okay, so here are all the pieces that I have printed. I just didn't print, or printed and just kind of fell apart. For the second print, I scaled up the sleeve and shoe files. Sadly, the sleeve didn't print correctly and the toe box on the heels was way too long, so I came to terms with the fact that I would have to edit the 3D models again. I went back to remodel the toe box to be smaller on both the last and the sole, and I'm happy to say the third print was a success. Now, the sleeves were a different case. I guess I overworked the STL files I used since some of the walls were too thin and the size of the file was far too much for my iPad to handle, so I was having trouble making edits. In the end, I scrapped the file and modeled a completely new sleeve. Luckily, this sleeve printed beautifully on the first attempt. Now, let me know in the comments below which sleeve you liked better. Now let's go ahead and check if it fits. And it fits just like a glove. Now, taking a look at all the prints, can you see the color difference? The newest prints are more yellow since they were recently cured. They turn more white over time. Now, isn't that really interesting? Using the last, I drafted a shoe pattern with the tape method, cut out my fabric pieces, and got to sewing. Now, I'm not the most experienced heel maker, so I did struggle a bit using satin, even though I did interface it for stability. To bring everything together, I placed the insole at the base of the last, and sewed it in place with the upper. Once sewn, it's time to glue.
Bruh.
Yep, that happened. Mind you, gluing the shoe was the last step before getting a snack and going to bed, so this was definitely crash out worthy in my books, but we persevered. Oh, yeah, in the midst of all that chaos, I managed to get some glue on the side of the heels. Yay me, but in the end, I placed the excess glue in the empty container, crimped the end of the tube with some pliers, and carried on. I did end up letting the glue dry, and it peeled right off. For the wig, I made a base to resemble the look of hair that is held up in a bun or a pigtail. It's really short and styled to take the form of the head to kind of help it give that illusion. It's a common practice for doll wigs with clip-on pigtails or buns. For the construction of the wig, I went ahead and did that stuff I always usually do for my wig making videos. I hand sewed a wig cap, marked the weft placement, and sewed them on. Once sewed, I go ahead and tie any of the extra hair I won't be needing, cut it off, and follow it by a boil wash. Now, let me tell you guys something. Styling this wig took me 2 whole days to complete. The goal is to blend the hair so each layer fades into itself, but I was really struggling to get a result I liked with the bangs. So I took a break and started the base for the buns. Now all I did was take some clips, a little bit of mesh, and use that to make a base that could hold some polyfill to kind of give it that iconic round shape that Serenity's buns have. With the bun clips out of the way, I jumped back to work on the base, and I started styling it to get an idea of what I had going on. This part took a lot of trimming, styling, and boil washes as well. After adding some wefts to make the side rings and styling a little bit more, I can finally feel myself making some progress. Okay, so the biggest dilemma has been figuring out what I'm going to do with these little side bangs. I try to do the little curls, but it's really difficult to get the end right and it just throws it off for me. And I kind of like how it looks, but I don't know. I feel like the curls distract from all the hard work I had to do to get to this point up here, right? Like if you divide it, it's like, oh, okay. And then over here, it's like, it seems like there's a lot going on. So I think I'm just gonna stick to these. These might be a little easier to maintain as well. Like if something goes wrong, I'll just whip out my little straightener. Now these, I redid this, like, I lost count, but it was a lot of times on both sides. And previous clip, you can see that they're both curled, and I thought that's where I was gonna end up. And I even updated the Discord with everyone, showing them like the two curls, like with like one curl on each side. But I think I'm gonna surprise them and just change it, because as much as I love the curls, like they're so cute, I don't feel like they mesh well. I don't know, but we'll see. Once I make the little buns and the clip-ons, maybe it'll change. With the base done, it's time to style the buns. My first attempt was to wrap the hair around the base and sew it in place with the same hair that's been cut and tied to use as a thread. But that first attempt led to a nasty tangle, and I fear I knew it wouldn't be my last. So I pivoted and aimed for a simpler design. Surprisingly, as I was fixing the hair that I previously knotted, a new idea came to mind, and I realized that if the hair is smoothed over, it covers the entire base. So I sewed more wefts on and used a rubber band to kind of hold everything in place. Now with this new method down, I was able to sew the second bun. And after finding out a method for the buns, a celebration dance is mandatory. Okay, so I don't know how I managed to do this, but this is what I ended up with. If I had a little more time, I probably would have tested out a few different methods, but I haven't even started sewing the dress yet. So this is what we're gonna do. So it's just like, it's the same little, I got some hair in my hand, little pom-pom I've been using with the clip thing you saw earlier. But this time, all I did was sew some wefts on, which you're about to see. And then, that's kind of how it looks. The hair is really long. But here it is. And then from the side, this is just kind of how it looks. I don't think it looks horrible though. I really like it. And I like that they're like squishy. And I could take the clips on and off and readjust the bun. So the rubber band is holding everything in around the little bun. So, you know, they'll wear out eventually, so I will have to replace them. But it's all in the method of how I wrap the rubber band around the clip and then have it go over the wefts. I'm so happy. She looks good. And it's the 18th and I haven't started the dress, so I really need to get this wig out of the way. It's been kicking my butt. This whole base took me 2 whole days to get right. And I don't know why it took me that long, but it did. It did. I hope it's worth it, and I hope you guys like it, because it took up so much of the time I don't have. But we're moving at a good speed now, so let's go. You see, you could kind of see through sometimes, but all you have to do is just kind of like move it and ta-da! For the preparation of the dress, I needed to draft a pattern that had a lot of open space for the beading. I used my spring dress pattern to draft a custom bodice. It's fairly simple, all I did was remove the side dart and connect the back pieces to make one big bodice with minimal seam lines. After testing the pattern for the perfect fit, I digitized it so I could make a beading guide. The beading guide was cut out of iridescent gold HTV so it can function as both a guide and embellishment. I really wanted to mesh the idea of functional and aesthetic design in this beading guide. With the beading guide ready, it is time to pick out my fabrics. Now, I had a few options to choose from, but I went with the white chiffon. The other option with the silver streaks was beautiful, but it was way darker in person and it looked way better on camera. I also found the perfect pastel pink chiffon for our bow. And this concludes part 1 of this project. Please take a moment to check out all the amazing talented creators who took part in the Ballgown Sewdown. They are some of the best and most creative artists in the community. It's been an honor to work and create alongside them, so please show them some love. And once again, thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.